You are currently infected by one of the most dangerous myths of the modern financial world, the illusion of fair play. You operate under the naive belief that in the ruthless arena of business and wealth accumulation, there is somehow enough room for everybody. You tell yourself that if you play by the rules and leave your competitors alone, they will naturally leave you alone. You even convince yourself that a little healthy competition is good for the market. This is a fatal, catastrophic miscalculation. The acquisition of wealth and market dominance is not a friendly game of tennis. It is an absolute war for survival, resources, and psychological supremacy. When you leave a rival with just enough market share to survive, you are not displaying nobility or mercy. You are breeding a deeply resentful enemy who will spend every waking hour plotting your absolute downfall. If you want to secure your financial empire and truly master the dark psychology of money, the concept of mercy must be permanently erased from your vocabulary. In his masterpiece, The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene establishes a terrifying but undeniable truth in Law 15, crush your enemy totally. Greene explicitly warns, more is lost through stopping halfway than through total annihilation. The enemy will recover and will seek revenge. This is not merely an ancient military strategy reserved for emperors and generals conquering physical territories. This is the exact blueprint operating in every successful corporate takeover, every ruthless market monopoly, and every fierce local business rivalry happening around you right now. Greene understands that if you leave a single ember burning, no matter how dimly it smolders, a fire will eventually break out. In the financial realm, an ember is a competitor who still has access to capital, a client base, a supply chain, or a digital platform. As long as they are breathing in your market, they are a biological threat that must be systematically neutralized. Let us look at a highly relatable, everyday business scenario that destroys thousands of entrepreneurs every single year. Imagine you have spent months, perhaps years, building a specialized online consulting business, an e-commerce brand, or a local service agency. You did the grueling foundational work. You found a unique niche, you developed a premium service, and you are finally seeing a steady, lucrative stream of high-paying clients. Suddenly, a former associate, an ambitious employee, or a direct rival notices your success. Because they lack your original vision, they decide to copy your exact business model. They use a similar website design, they steal your marketing angles, and they offer the exact same services, but they price everything 30% lower to deliberately undercut you. Your initial reaction, poisoned by modern corporate softness, is to take the high road. You tell yourself that your premium quality will speak for itself. You believe that engaging in a brutal price war or aggressively attacking their credibility is beneath your status. You let them operate. You watch them take 10% of your clients, assuming they will eventually be satisfied with the scraps and leave you to dominate the top tier of the market. What happens next is a fundamental law of human nature that you cannot afford to ignore. The competitor does not feel grateful for your mercy. They do not look at your passivity and think you are generous. They feel emboldened because you did not crush them the absolute second they entered your territory. They view you as weak, slow, and arrogant. That 10% of your client base gives them the cash flow and the confidence. They need to launch a massive, targeted marketing campaign against your remaining 90%. They begin to spread subtle rumors about your pricing. They poach your best employees by offering them slightly higher wages funded by the money they stole from your market share. Within a single year, they have not just copied your business, they have replaced it entirely. You are left financially devastated, wondering how a cheap, talentless imitation managed to destroy your premium empire. You lost everything because you stopped halfway. You allowed a financial enemy to heal, regroup, and strike back. The legendary political philosopher, Machiavelli, warned against this exact vulnerability centuries ago when he stated, "Men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries. Of more serious ones they cannot." Therefore, the injury that is to be done to a man ought to be of such a kind that one does not stand in fear of revenge when you only partially damage a competitor by winning a single contract or outranking them in one marketing campaign. You inflict a light injury. You do not put them out of business. You simply humiliate them. And humiliation is the most potent fuel for vengeance. A humiliated competitor will work twice as hard, sleep half as much, and take massive, irrational risks just to see you fall. To bankrupt your competition and command true financial power, you must completely destroy their capacity to fight. You do not just beat their prices temporarily. You lock in exclusive, long-term contracts with suppliers so your rival cannot even source their materials. You do not just market better. You completely monopolize the attention of your target audience so that when consumers think of your industry, your rival's name does not even register as a viable option. You must become a financial black hole, absorbing all the resources, all the talent, and all the attention in your space, leaving your competition to starve in the cold vacuum of irrelevance. In the second part of this masterclass, we will dissect the exact mechanics of execution. We will explore how to identify your competitor's critical load-bearing pillar and how to strike it with such overwhelming financial and psychological force that their entire operation collapses overnight. We will discuss the art of the invisible attack, ensuring that by the time your enemy realizes they are bankrupt, you are already entirely out of reach. To completely crush an opponent, you must fundamentally change how you view conflict. Amateurs engage in surface-level warfare. When they are threatened by a competitor or a rival, they immediately react loudly and visibly. They start brutal, exhausting price wars that destroy their own profit margins. They launch aggressive marketing campaigns specifically designed to mock the enemy. They argue in boardrooms or complain to superiors in a corporate environment. This loud, visible aggression is a massive strategic failure. When you attack an enemy on the surface, you immediately trigger their survival instincts. You give them a clear, visible target to fight against, which allows them to rally their resources, gather their allies, and prepare a defense. The true master of power understands that the most lethal attacks are completely invisible. By the time your enemy realizes they are bleeding, the war must already be over. To execute the invisible attack, you must deeply analyze the architecture of your rival's operation. Every single business, every corporate career, and every social structure relies on a load-bearing pillar. This is the single hidden element that keeps their entire system from collapsing. It is almost never what it appears to be on the surface. Their strength is not their logo, their marketing, or their loud confidence. Their load-bearing pillar might be a single, highly efficient supplier who gives them favorable credit terms. It might be a brilliant, underpaid operations manager who actually does all the heavy lifting behind the scenes. In a corporate environment, their pillar might be a specific relationship with a senior executive who blindly protects them. Your objective is not to fight the rival directly. Your objective is to quietly, methodically locate this pillar and completely dismantle it in the shadows. Let us return to the scenario of the copycat competitor who is trying to undercut your business. Instead of lowering your own prices and destroying the premium value you have built, you launch a covert strike against their supply chain. You identify the specific vendor they rely on for their core materials or digital infrastructure. Because you have the capital and the established reputation, you approach that vendor and offer them a highly lucrative, long-term contract that guarantees massive volume. But this contract comes with a single, non-negotiable clause: exclusivity. You legally bind the supplier to work only with your company in this specific region or niche. You do not make an announcement. You do not brag about it on social media. You simply sign the paperwork and wait. Simultaneously, you look at their internal structure. You identify the one talented employee who is actually holding their chaotic copycat operation together. You know this employee is likely overworked and severely underappreciated because your rival is focused entirely on beating you, not on building a healthy company. You quietly reach out to this key employee through a third party. You offer them a 20% salary increase, a better title, and a vastly superior working environment. You extract the brain of their operation and integrate it into your own empire. Understand the profound psychological terror of what happens next. Your rival wakes up one morning believing they are still actively competing with you. They confidently go to place a massive order for materials to fulfill their new client contracts, only to find the door completely shut. Their supplier politely informs them that they can no longer do business. Panic begins to set in. They immediately call their top operations manager to help them navigate the crisis, only to discover a resignation letter sitting on their desk. In a single afternoon, without you ever raising your voice, without a single public argument, their entire operational capacity is vaporized. They cannot fulfill their orders. Their reputation with their stolen clients collapses instantly, and they are left completely bankrupt. You did not defeat them in a battle. You simply removed the ground they were standing on. This exact strategy applies flawlessly to the corporate ladder. Imagine a toxic, highly competitive colleague who is actively trying to sabotage your reputation to steal a promotion you have rightfully earned. The amateur reaction is to confront them in the hallway or to go to human resources and complain, which only makes you look weak, emotional, and difficult to manage. The Machiavellian shadow player does not confront the rival. You map out their load-bearing pillar. You observe who they rely on for crucial information, which departments approve their projects, and which managers they are trying to impress. You then quietly build impenetrable alliances with those exact people. You make yourself completely indispensable to the departments your rival needs. You solve problems for the executives your rival is trying to court. You position yourself as the ultimate reliable node of information in the office. You weave a silent web of influence that completely surrounds them. When the time comes for the promotion, your rival tries to make a move, only to find themselves operating in a total vacuum. When they try to launch a project, it is mysteriously delayed by other departments. When they try to claim credit, the senior executives are already fully aware that you were the true architect of the success. You have completely isolated them. Robert Greene emphasizes that isolation is the precursor to destruction. When a person is cut off from their resources, their allies, and their information flow, their mind begins to betray them. They start making desperate, irrational decisions. They become paranoid. They lash out emotionally, which only further destroys their reputation and proves to everyone around them that they are unfit for power. By mastering the invisible attack, you force your enemies to destroy themselves with their own panic, leaving your hands entirely clean. But physical and operational isolation is only the first phase of total annihilation. To ensure they never rise from the ashes to challenge you again, you must break their psychological will to fight. In the third part of this masterclass, we will delve into the darkest aspect of Law 15. We will explore how to instill a deep, paralyzing sense of futility in the minds of your enemies, making them voluntarily surrender their ambitions before the final blow is even struck. Destroying a competitor's financial infrastructure and isolating them from their resources will win you the battle, but it will not guarantee the permanent safety of your empire. If an enemy loses their money but retains their pride, their anger, and their hope, they remain a highly volatile threat. Human beings are incredibly resilient creatures when fueled by a sense of injustice or a desire for revenge. An enemy who has been financially ruined but not psychologically broken will spend years operating in the shadows, waiting for you to make a single mistake. They will poison the minds of your potential allies. They will wait for a moment of economic downturn or personal crisis to strike you when you are vulnerable. To truly fulfill the mandate of Law 15 and crush your enemy totally, you must move beyond their bank account and systematically destroy their psychological will to fight. You must instill such a profound sense of futility in their mind that the very thought of challenging you again induces physical exhaustion. The core of this psychological annihilation lies in the complete eradication of hope. As long as your rival believes that if they just work a little harder or find one lucky break, they can defeat you, they will continue to struggle. You must show them a reality so overwhelmingly dominant that their brain simply short-circuits. You do this by demonstrating a terrifying, disproportionate level of competence and speed. When the copycat competitor from our earlier scenario realizes their supply chain is blocked and their best manager has quit, they will experience a moment of sheer panic. But in their desperation, they will likely try one final aggressive maneuver. They will attempt to launch a smear campaign against your brand, or they will slash their prices to absolute zero, offering their services practically for free just to steal back some attention. The amateur business owner gets defensive in this moment. They issue public statements denying the smears, or they complain about the unfairness of the competitor's pricing. This is a fatal psychological error. Defending yourself proves that the enemy's attack had an impact. It validates their existence and gives them the hope that they are getting under your skin. The Machiavellian shadow player does not defend. Instead, you execute a paradigm shift. While they are screaming for attention at the bottom of the market, arguing over pennies, you suddenly release a massive, undeniably brilliant new product line. A high-level corporate partnership or an elite service that immediately renders their entire business model obsolete. You do not address their smear campaign. You transcend it entirely. You elevate the battlefield to a height where they cannot even breathe, let alone fight. When you shift the paradigm, you make them look incredibly small and completely outdated. In the business world, being perceived as evil can sometimes be recovered from, but being perceived as irrelevant is an absolute death sentence. Their clients will not just leave them, they will be embarrassed to be associated with them. The enemy realizes that while they were spending all their energy trying to copy your past, you were already living 3 steps into the future. This creates a massive psychological gap that they know they can never close. They are forced to look at their crumbling, chaotic operation and then look at your soaring, untouchable empire. At this exact moment, the crushing weight of futility breaks their spirit permanently. To maximize this psychological terror, you must master a concept the Italians call sprezzatura, the art of effortless dominance. The most terrifying enemies in history are not the ones who sweat, scream, and struggle to achieve victory. The most terrifying enemies are the ones who crush you without ever breaking a sweat. Throughout this entire corporate war, you must maintain absolute public silence. Do not gloat. Do not post arrogant quotes on social media about defeating your haters. Do not let anyone see how hard you are working behind closed doors. You must project an aura of complete, unbothered invulnerability. Imagine the psychological state of the isolated colleague in the corporate environment. They have tried everything to sabotage you. They have tried to steal your projects and spread rumors. Yet every time you walk into a boardroom, you are perfectly calm, immaculately prepared, and completely endorsed by the senior executives. You present your data flawlessly. You smile politely at the rival, and you never, ever show that their sabotage affected you. Because you offer them absolutely no emotional reaction, their imagination becomes their own worst enemy. They start to believe that you possess a level of intelligence and power that they cannot even comprehend. They begin to feel that they are not fighting a human being, but a relentless, calculated machine. A human will fight another human, but a human will always surrender to a machine. When you maintain this aura of effortless supremacy, the rival's ego collapses in on itself. They will begin to second-guess every decision they make. They will become paralyzed by the fear that any move they make is secretly a trap you have laid for them. Their ambition evaporates, replaced by a deep, survival-based instinct to simply avoid your wrath. They will quietly request a transfer to a different department. They will resign from the company, or they will close down their copycat business and exit the industry entirely. You have not just defeated them, you have fundamentally altered their perception of their own capabilities. They will never dare to cross your path again, because you have hardwired the fear of your retaliation directly into their nervous system. In the fourth and final part of this masterclass, we will discuss the dangerous aftermath of total victory. Once you have crushed your enemies and secured your financial and professional empire, you face a new insidious threat, the paranoia and arrogance of absolute power. I will show you how to maintain your dominance without destroying yourself, how to build an impenetrable moat around your wealth, and how to forever secure your position at the apex of the hierarchy. When the dust finally settles, when your competitor is entirely bankrupt and your toxic colleague has quietly resigned, you will experience a dangerous, intoxicating rush of absolute power. The battlefield is completely silent. You have successfully executed Law 15. You have crushed your enemy totally, extracting their resources, dismantling their load-bearing pillars, and destroying their psychological will to fight. Your market share is secure. Your reputation is untouchable. But this exact moment of total victory is where the most brilliant strategists in history have made their most fatal errors. If you believe that the destruction of one enemy guarantees permanent peace, you are still thinking like an amateur. The execution of power is not a single event. It is a continuous, never-ending state of vigilance. When you demonstrate the capacity to ruthlessly and silently dismantle an opponent, you inevitably change the environment around you. You are no longer perceived as a harmless player in the game. You are now the apex predator, and the fundamental law of the jungle is that the apex predator is always being watched by younger, hungrier rivals waiting for a moment of weakness. By winning the war, you have successfully painted a massive target on your own back. If you allow the arrogance of victory to make you complacent, or if you allow the trauma of the war to make you paranoid, your empire will collapse from the inside out. The first trap you must avoid is the arrogance of invulnerability. After a massive financial or corporate victory, it is biologically tempting to relax. You stop innovating. You stop aggressively monitoring the market. You start believing that your current product, your current alliances, and your current strategies will protect you forever. This is exactly how massive, monopolistic corporations are eventually destroyed by tiny, agile startups. They become bloated and arrogant. To secure your empire permanently, you must take the resources you acquired from your defeated enemy and immediately reinvest them into building an impenetrable moat around your business and your life. In the financial realm, a structural moat is not merely a large cash reserve. It is the absolute monopolization of leverage. You do not just celebrate your victory, you quietly buy out the best suppliers in the industry. You aggressively recruit the top-tier talent from your remaining competitors before they even have a chance to challenge you. You secure long-term, ironclad contracts with your most valuable clients, making it legally and financially agonizing for them to ever leave you. You must make the barrier to entry into your specific territory so astronomically high that any future rival who looks at your empire immediately calculates that the cost of attacking you is suicidal. You do not just build a castle, you buy all the land surrounding it and salt the earth so nothing else can grow. The second trap is the poison of paranoia. Some individuals, after experiencing the dark realities of betrayal and corporate warfare, lose their ability to trust entirely. They begin to see enemies in every corner. They micromanage their loyal employees. They treat their best clients with suspicion. They become tyrants. A tyrant is not a powerful person. A tyrant is a terrified person holding a weapon. If you become paranoid, you will destroy the very alliances that keep you in power. Your elite inner circle will abandon you because nobody wants to work for a leader who treats them like a potential traitor. The Machiavellian sovereign avoids paranoia by relying on flawless systems rather than emotional instincts. You do not need to lie awake at night wondering if your employees are stealing from you if you have instituted ironclad financial audits and compartmentalized your sensitive information. You do not need to worry about a client leaving if your service is mathematically superior to everything else on the market. You trust your architecture, not your emotions. You maintain your strategic warmth with your allies rewarding their loyalty generously, while keeping your sword sharp and hidden in the shadows, reserved only for those who actually dare to cross the moat. You have now evolved past the illusion of fair play. You understand that the world of finance, business, and high-status networking is a zero-sum game of psychological dominance. You no longer hope for mercy from your competitors, and you absolutely never grant it to them. You are the invisible architect. You identify the structural weaknesses of your enemies, you isolate them from their lifeblood, and you elevate yourself to a level of effortless supremacy that permanently shatters their will to fight. You have mastered the dark psychology of money. If you have absorbed this entire masterclass to the final second, your days of being a stepping stone for other people's ambitions are permanently over. You are no longer the prey. You are the architect of the environment. If you are ready to stop playing by the weak rules of the modern world, if you are ready to protect your empire and master the dark arts of strategic dominance, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on the notifications, and join this elite inner circle of covert shadow players who do not just participate